my question is, if a man is not economically stable to even keep a woman 100% nowadays, what is his stability to then keep more than one woman? Where would he get that money
He'd
from?
have more kids, so it means that more kids mean more money, more revenue.
I mean, that's later on, but, on the beginning, on the years.
They all turn out to be crackheads, all of them.
No, I've seen it done before. There's literally TV shows, and there's these huge families. They go on these TV shows, and they kind of do well. There was one in actually in the UK, and now they're millionaires.
I would say that as long as a man can provide their woman all the same. Imagine if he has 4 women and he can provide them all the same, it would make sense. It would work in certain countries just because, as you can see, there's so many women that are single and so many men that are married. So I feel like there's more women than men in certain countries. So that could work, but I feel like it would have to be an agreement between both parties. The woman would also have to agree to that type of lifestyle.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I agree there has to be a financial capacity of the man to be able to adopt or include more women in his relationship perspective. And everybody must be open and honest. Like, the women must be aware of what's happening. But just to kind of tie it, I do kind of understand how that system of relationships would actually benefit. Like, rather than having kids, take for example, I'm not judging Nick Cannon because I understand what he's doing. From my perspective, it would make sense if all the kids were like, we're all living in, let's say, California, right? And the kids live like in the same street, they all went to the same schools, even if they live in different households, like houses, when I mean households, but we all understand we're in this one relationship together. Like, that would make a more.
That's wow, man. That is going down the street. That you'll be sleeping up. You'll be sleeping in the first.
But it's not that big of a deal, because if you look at olden times, that was kind of how traditional relationships
I feel
were.
like to be able to even solve the problem of baby mamas, it would literally have to be, in my country, I am from Angola, and normally if a man impregnates a woman, he has to marry her.
So most African countries like that.
Some men sometimes, in the baby mama culture, they say, oh, but I didn't like her enough, or I already had a woman. So just to know that men wouldn't be able to bring those excuses anymore, would have to, marry them. I feel like that would end baby mama's culture, because that would mean that both parties are accountable for the child.
What if they just use birth control? That would be very helpful. Some of them don't use birth control and they just be fucking everybody raw.
I mean, sometimes it goes against certain people's religion, so
it's not halal.
But then when they have the baby and then they don't look after the baby, that's not going against the religion.
I agree. You have to look after your kids. You have to look after your kids.
For me though, like, but when it comes to stuff like this, are we actually saying? Is the question? Are we saying baby mama culture is bad?
I'm not saying baby mama culture is bad. I'm saying it's kind of inefficient, because yes, like Lindsay touched on earlier before, if a man has a lot of kids, there's not that much time to be able to take care of all of them at the same time. So now imagine even if he doesn't have a lot of kids, let's say he has, in the Canon's case, 10, but they're all over the country, it's almost infeasible for you to take care of them. But if you kept them all under one household, not in the same house, but like one unit, like we're all living in the same area, going to the same school.
I feel like I see where your thinking is coming from, because it is important to have that father figure there and your mom as well. So I feel like that would end the mamas.
But not everybody wants to be a sister wife.
I mean, but there are positives, like it's one unit, it's one family. Let's not think about it.
As long as they all agree to it.
But they're all models. One of them will want him more than the other.
No, they'll take turns. There'll be balance.
I feel like before you even impregnate her, I feel like it would actually be important, or even be intimate with her, it would actually be important for you to talk about the kind of life you want to have in the future, And I feel like bringing this on would mean that both women and men are just being intimate with people they actually see a future with. Because that would mean that even men, you wouldn't be able to just trash a woman after you've slept with her and she's now pregnant. just knowing that you have to marry her will carry some weight on your shoulders as well, just as women do when we get scared of getting pregnant.